we saw Trey Lance in red zone. It's the first time we've gotten to see the 49ers in red zone during OTAs or mandatory OTAs. We haven't gotten to see red zone. Doesn't mean they haven't done it. Kyle Shanahan did tell us after practice it was the best they've looked in all of OTAs was today's red zone period offensively. He said the red zone as a group, all of them, but I thought Trey Lance of that group stood out. I thought he was really good in red zone. I came away thinking that red zone might actually be more comfortable for him right now, and that as the season begins, it'll be where he has more, I don't know if I'm going to say more success because more of your plays come outside of the red zone. But I think in some ways red zone might be easier for him because you are so aware of the fact that your decisions have to come quickly. And he made some great throws on quick decisions. He threw a ball into Ayuk's chest that ended up as an interception. He threw a fade to Juwan Jennings that was gorgeous. He hit Jennings with a couple more. He made some really good throws. I know you thought the best throw we saw him make came in 11 on 11. That was not in the red zone on a seam throw to a tight end. But he also had some wacky throws, if we're being honest, in non-red zone periods. A knuckleball to the outside that got broken up because it got there late. A knuckler into the flat. A deep ball that wasn't close. Not to one of the number one receivers.
That was a bad throw.
So, and I think this is just a theory as I'm watching it. Part of what happens outside of the red zone is you have more time to try and make something happen. And as we know, he can do some special things when he has time to make something happen off script. But I think he's pretty quick. And I don't know if you saw this, Steve Young said this at Mayoko's Dwight Clark event, that he thinks the thing that Trey has down right now is he's a very fast processor. I think he's right. I think it shows itself in the red zone. And I think in the red zone, you're not, because it's compacted, you're not muscling the ball so much, right? You know, there's no chance I'm making a 40-yard throw in this. I'm either throwing a dart, I'm throwing a fade, I got to get one outside to a running back. Whereas there are times it felt like in other scenarios where he's trying to make plays down the field or where he's off script, where he tries to muscle the ball a little bit and loses a little bit of accuracy there. Just a theory. Again, we've watched a handful of practices. That's what we saw today with red zone. It's taken a slice of the pie and kind of building a theory off of it, but that's where I am today after watching practice.
I texted a buddy in the NFL that had sent me some clips from last year that were pretty ugly on Trey, and I said, listen, I'm not trying to act like these OTA practices in 2022 are the end-all, be-all. We all agree they have a huge red flag next to them in terms of meaning, right? I don't think – because we do that with training camp practices, like, God, Haberman, how about the 6th rounder? He makes every play. And then like the camp and then the preseason game, and it just things happen. Trent Sherfield looked like Larry Fitzgerald last year in the first week. You just never know. But like I have to say he has been better than I thought the 3 weeks that we've taken him in. Now my bar was pretty low. The internet gets mad at us because I don't think we anoint him as the next Mahomes, Josh Allen. So my bar was low, like it would be with any young quarterback who hasn't played much. Like if Trevor Lawrence was the quarterback, my bar would not be low. I would be much more critical on a wheel route going over. I still think that's something we've talked about he has to work on. But that red zone period was obviously awesome. The offense dominated. So it's like sometimes that just
7-on-7 we should mention too.
7-on-7 he looked good. And I'm telling you, that pass that he made.
Sorry, John. I'm just saying red zone was 7-on-7.
Oh, yeah. There's less clutter, right, with the lineman in your way. Yep. But that throw that he made down the seam was just, there are going to be plays that are going to happen this year. Because there's one thing you and I were bullshitting on the sideline. I said, well, it's inevitable. And this happened with Jimmy too. He is going to make some plays because they're going to play in important games, right? Like ultimately when Zach Wilson or Trevor Lawrence, how much do you feel like you watched a lot of Trevor Lawrence last year? Because I don't. Because you know why? His games didn't matter at all. We just kept making fun of his coach. I didn't watch many Jets games. Honestly, the only Jets game I watched start to finish was the one on Thursday Night Football where they sucked. And like Josh Johnson was their quarterback. They played the Colts. So Trey Lance, because the Niners, like let's face it, the Niners are stacked. Like they are really good. They went to the NFC Championship for a reason. Not their quarterback. Their fucking team. And now their team, in theory, should be better. They had another pass rusher. They had a sweet running back. They had some free agents. Their team is good. They are a top 7-8 roster in the league. So this quarterback he, in a weird way, doesn't need to be exceptional. Now, his physical attributes are going to allow him to do some exceptional things that they weren't able to do last year in the passing game. But he could also, there are going to be plays, and this might happen I'll just pick a random week, like week 7. They're playing the Cardinals in a big game. Both teams are 5-2.
Kansas City, John. Week 7.
Kansas City.
Check the board.
They're playing the Chiefs. They're both 5-2. Somehow CBS gets that, and it's Nance and Romo. And it's like, oh, shit. Is that a 125 game? TBD game?
It's on Fox.
Okay, so it's Olsen and Burkhardt.
Burkhardt and Olsen.
And that game is big, and they're both 5-2. And it's like, okay, Trey's passed every test. Throws 3 picks in the game. Mahomes throws 4 touchdowns. The Niners lose by 20 points. And everyone's like, oh, it's going to happen. Who cares? Right? To me, I'm already prepared to live with some of the boneheaded things as long as he can be efficient like we saw today and then have the exceptional explosive plays. That, honestly, if Jimmy just had 2 more explosive plays a game, legitimately, not the yak plays. And I think Warren Sharp put out something the other day on Twitter to, really put it into context because we were going back and forth. Remember when we were looking at the numbers last year? Didn't add up.
Yeah.
It's the yak numbers were crazy. I'm talking legit bombs to Ayuk or to Kittle down the seam or to Debo or to Juwan Jennings.
I'll tell you, I think even one Garoppolo more explosive game would have changed their offense.
Yeah, because they won 10 games with the way they played.
Just one.
What if Trey could give you 2? Because he can, right? Just with his arm strength.
Yeah.
You're going to get
again. He might.
They're going to have shots.
This is why
he's going to call shots this year, right? Besides just because Kyle naturally has the built-in plays, the Y slip out, and just the natural shit where guys are going to be wide open. He's got to hit those. And Jimmy was hit or miss. Obviously, the other quarterbacks missed way more. Can he just occasionally? I'm talking just occasionally during the game. You're right. It might just be one play. Hit Ayuk on a 50-yard bomb.
Remember when it happens? When he tries to make a play that doesn't work out, that Garoppolo did not play mistake-free football. Just remember, just file that one away for next time.
I don't think anyone will totally
Jimmy
forget.
might have made that. No, but I think sometimes in the off-season, we forget that Garoppolo taketh and giveth, and doesn't really giveth as much.
What if he gets traded to the Browns and wins the MVP?
Big play. Well, he could be good on the Browns. Would be a great spot for him, and I think it's a real possibility that he ends up as the Browns quarterback. But I think it's funny. All the talk of Trey's mechanics is everybody but Trey and Kyle. When Trey and Kyle get asked about it, they really downplay it. I mean, Shanahan, every time he gets asked about Trey's mechanics, acts like he doesn't even understand why the question's being asked. He's like, he's the same stuff. And I think it might be legit because every time Trey is asked, he's like, yeah, we're not really doing that much. We're just trying to fine tune some things. I think there are times where the way he tries to create plays create bad throws where his ball doesn't get to where he wants it to go the way he wants it to get there because he's really trying hard to force to make a play. In the red zone, I think you're probably more mechanically sound in the red zone because the decision is quicker and the throw is likely not going to be you're not running out to one side and throwing it to the other hash mark. You just don't have time. There's not enough space. Because you already have, and we asked Shanahan about this today, you already have 3 points. So you're not trying to make too much extra happen because you already have 3 points.
Unless you're Jimmy Garoppolo against the Green Bay Packers in the NFC.
Unless you're Jimmy Garoppolo against the Green Bay Packers. The other thing overall, I think Trey just continues. He looks really comfortable, really at ease. Multiple press conference now I've watched. Take it with a grain of salt, whatever it's worth. I think he handles those situations really well. But I think just watching him on the field, he really looks, he is the starting quarterback of the 49ers, and he acts like it. And I've watched a lot of quarterbacks practice up close in my day. So have you. You can tell when a guy is acting like he's supposed to act and when a guy is just being himself. And I think Trey is just out there being himself, and he has a lot of the qualities required.
After these 3 practices that we've attended, and we'll be there again tomorrow, and if Thursday happens, are you pretty confident that Jimmy's done here? Because I am at this point.
Yes, I have no doubt in my mind that they think of Trey Lance as the starting quarterback and do not really even think of Jimmy as some sort of emergency safety net.
I agree. In a perfect world, if we can get Jimmy for $2 million and he was our backup quarterback, they would love to do something like that, but it's just not even going to be possible. It feels like they have come to grips, and they've been saying the same thing now for a month. Jimmy Garoppolo's not going to be on this team. I don't think, and I know I kind of asked Kyle about it, and it was, again, like it's unfair because it's a month and a half away. Like, I don't think we ever see Jimmy in training camp. He might still be on the team, but I'd be a little. Would you agree? Like, would you be surprised now to see Jimmy out there with Trey taking snaps?
Partly based on Kyle's answer today. I think a lot of people took, because Kyle was asked, I think Biederman asked him, like, is Jimmy going to be here if he hasn't been traded by the time training camp rolls around?
Once
he
he's
said
healthy.
yes. Once he's healthy. And you said you wouldn't excuse him. And then Kyle said, well, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So
question by me.
Yeah, that was good.
I didn't want to put him I'm not trying to get too aggressive with him because I ultimately want him on this podcast. I'm not an adversary, but the way he said that was like, wait, so you bring him to practice, and then he kind of pivoted fast, didn't he?
Yeah, I don't think I've seen a few people in the chat saying that he definitively said today, and that is what he said. But I'm telling you, I didn't. My overall takeaway was after the follow-up, like, I'm saying that now because it's June and that's what I can say now. But when it really comes time to cross that bridge, and you could argue, John,
because no one's acknowledging that Jimmy's not dramatically better than the other two guys, and honestly could do every bit as good a job Trey early on, right? We all acknowledge that.
To me, there's also just
he's definitely better than the other two guys.
Yes, he's definitely better than the other two guys. To me, the only reason to have him out there is if you think there's a possibility you're going to restructure and make him your backup quarterback. Because otherwise, he's then taking reps away from the players who you're actually going to use. And that there's no point in doing that.
No.
Right. And he's not going to be getting starting reps over Trey. So he'd be taking like Nate Sudfeld's reps. And you don't want him taking Nate Sudfeld's reps if he's going to be making $27 million, because he's not going to be your backup quarterback for $27 million.